Hello folks and welcome. Filming in 1920 by 1080. Adjust your YouTube player accordingly. This Linux Mint logo will change occasionally. So this video is all about Linux Mint. I've gotten plenty of questions about which version of Linux Mint is right for me. Well, that all depends on several factors. What kind of computer you have and how old it is the major factors. So I'm going to talk about their desktops for Linux Mint. These are my opinions, yes, but I'm also going to give you my tips along the way. Filming in 1920 by 1080, adjust your YouTube player accordingly if necessary. I will be giving you screenshots of all of their desktops and including this one. I'm filming from the Cinnamon desktop. Let's first start with their website. It is linuxmint.com. All right, we can talk a little bit later about the download section where you can take a peek at LMDE 6 and all versions. We're going to start with discussions on your computer. I can't answer these questions, but I can make you think about it. So your laptop, are you using one? How old is that laptop? That's all going to influence which decision you go with for what type of desktop. Are you running a tower computer? A tower computer has an external monitor. We can also talk about, is your tower computer old or is it fairly new? All these things have a bearing on your decision of your experience with these desktops. Installations instructions are here. You can also find information online through your favorite search engine of what the bare minimum requirements are for these desktops. So I'm going to start with Virginia, Linux Mint 21.3. Linux Mint 22 is going to be released shortly. Don't ask me when. Clem and his team are the only ones who know that. All right, I'm going to move on now. I'm going to click this download area. This is all about Linux Mint 21.3. I'm going to first give you an overview by reducing the size. So you can probably tell that says Cinnamon, Xfce, Mate, and then another Cinnamon. All right, so I'm going to blow this back up. 160% should be good enough. Install instructions are here. Let's talk about the most popular version, which is the Cinnamon, most popular version for Mint. The Cinnamon desktop, I will give you an actual live view of this instead of these blurry looking screenshots. But more importantly, I'm going to show you what these desktops look like with actual screenshots latter part of the video. But we can talk about your computer for a second. If you are using a laptop with a touchpad, may I suggest if you're going to download this, that at least you borrow a USB mouse or a hardwired computer mouse. In other words, USB based, hardwired, or a USB dongle type of mouse, just in case your touchpad doesn't work. And if that's the case, maybe you need the other Cinnamon version at the bottom of the screen, which I'll talk about also. Just a little tip for you. We can read new features, release notes, and we can click downloads. All right, assuming you know what an ISO image is, if not, you can look up information about what a computer image is. But these can be burned onto DVD players or DVDs, or USB sticks. If you are going to go to the USB sticks, this is a 2.9 gigabyte file. That will fit nicely on a 4 gigabyte USB stick. Does it matter if it's USB 2 or 3? No. USB 2s are cheaper, and also depending on your computer. Which kind of USB bus do you have? Most people don't know that. Unless you got a modern computer, they're USB 3s. Sometimes the newest ones are 3.1, and I think there's a newer version also out. But you can't go wrong with USB 2s. They're cheap. You can buy them at grocery stores nowadays. Can you use an 8 gigabyte? Sure. Most software that does ISO images can handle these kind of things and just take that 2.9 and throw it on there. All right, so burn yourself a USB stick is the fastest. All of Linux Mint's images can be test driven before installation. I'm going to say this again. It doesn't matter what flavor. You can burn it onto a USB stick, fire it up on your computer, test drive it before install. All right, 64-bit, 2.9 gigabytes. Below here are download mirrors, places you can get this in the world. Here's Canada, USA, and other countries. All right, so click your your closest location. Now this only has a 64-bit. All right, I'm going to move along to the next desktop. Keep in mind, Linux Mint has several desktops. So if you have a really old computer, doesn't matter if it's a laptop or possibly a tower computer. Again, a tower computer has an external monitor. Lightweight desktop environment, Xfce. You will find the Xfce desktops on many Linux distributions. Linux Mint provides you with some additional tools though, which I'll talk about later. All right, the download on this one is 2.8 gigabytes, and the mirrors are down below where you can get this distribution. New features, release notes. Moving along, we have the Mate edition, classical traditional desktop. All right, download on that one is 2.9 gigabytes. Mirrors are down below. I'll talk about some interesting features with Mate when I show you my screenshots. We have another Cinnamon edition downstairs. This one is called the Edge ISO. So the ISO image is what you download and burn onto those USB sticks or DVDs. That's all that means, but it's going to accommodate for the latest chipsets. So if you are definitely using a fairly brand new laptop and you're concerned about that touchpad thing, you may want to try this one first. All right, it has a more modern Linux kernel than this one here does. This is what they call the LTS, long-term support kernel. It's a 515. This is a 6.5 series kernel currently. What's the download image on this one? 2.9. The mirrors are down below. 64-bit only. Okay. So I'm going to, now that I've discussed this group, I'm going to click that Linux Mint logo to go to their main page, linuxmint.com, and scroll over to downloads, and let's talk a little bit about LMDE 6. Codename Xfce. It stands for Linux Mint Debian Edition. It is going to be using a package base provided by Debian instead of Ubuntu. Download package on this one is 2.5. The mirrors are below. So again, this will fit nicely on a 4 gig stick, USB. All right, so the desktop itself visually looks the same as the Cinnamon 21.3. However, a lot of things under the hood are slightly different. I'll give you a case in point. I have 2 videos that I posted in the last week that both have the title, What is DNS? And we all use DNS for web browsing. But anyways, the reason I did 2 of them is because the command lines for doing stuff on a terminal, those commands are different between the 2 desktops, just to give you the example. However, they look the same visually. Some people prefer Debian. Some people do not. They're both great desktops in my book. All right, now I'm going to go back to the main Linux Mint page, go to download and all versions. So first I'm going to just make this small for you to see how extensive this chart is. And then I'm going to make this larger for you. So down below has the number 6 on it. Has Xfce, Cinnamon, Debian Bookworm, long-term support. All right, this is a Cinnamon desktop. LMDE 6 is a 2.5 gigabyte download. It also offers 2 flavors, 64-bit, here's the mirrors for that, and the 32-bit mirrors for that. All right, just wanted to point that out at you. All right, so again, you can go back and get this directly from the main page, download all versions. All right, now I'm going to talk about this category only because this is the current release of 21.3. The 21 series are all supported until April of 2027. You can scroll all the way down to Vanessa. That's the code name for that one. At 20.3 though, things change. Then you're looking at an end date of support until April of 2025, coming up next year. Scrolling to the top, so the current released version, depending on when you're watching this video, today's date is June 20th of 2024. So that is currently the release is 21.3. If you're watching this video later on, you may see 22 sitting here. So this one is codenamed Virginia. It's just different names that they like to use. These are all based off of Ubuntu Jammy. LMDE 6 is downstairs based off of Debian. Just wanted to quickly cover that. So again, support until 2027. Standard Cinnamon version, Edge version. Again, what's the Edge version used for? For more modern hardware. Mate Desktop, Xfce. These are all clickable. The mirrors are down below. Okay. Now let me give you some screenshots. But before I do that, let me show you, this is a traditional Cinnamon 21.3. Cinnamon 21.3. This is a standard menu. You can also get these in dark themes and light themes and all kinds of stuff. These are also resizable, and so are the icon sets. I have videos on how to show you how to do that. All right, so Software Manager looks like this. It's a very pleasant software manager. And you'll see my screenshots on the other desktops will look just like this. Okay, we can either go full screen my way, or you can do it the system way. And then you can also just resize the box. I'm just going to use a windowed environment and give you an idea that I'm just going to click something. So you'll have screenshots here, installation, and sometimes you'll see Flatpak software also. And you can choose either one on this particular one. All right, so on Google Earth, you only see a system package here. It's very intuitive. It's got details, got reviews, and use those discerningly, as one would say. And I'll just click the games category for a second. So Hedge Wars is at the top. I'll click that. Click on the screenshot. Some are sharper than others. Install key. This one has two flavors also. System package and FlatHub. And details and reviews. Again, use them discerningly. Lots of software, but how much? Well, if we go to the hamburger menu, we can see show installed, search packages, refresh list, and about. Doesn't really tell me how many. Mint install is software manager. So all of the desktops you can install using terminal also, but they also have Synaptic Package Manager. And the only reason I'm opening this, and Mary is a made-up name, by the way, Mary Tester, how appropriate. I used different names on some of the videos that I filmed, just to have a little fun. So Linux Mint advertises 60,000 plus packages. Well, I think you see there's a little bit more than that here, 84,187. All right, so, but more importantly, you can use this also to install software. There's one thing I'm going to inform you of right now, though. This does not include the Flatpak software. That's not part of this. So you got more than 84,000 at your disposal if you use Software Manager. But you can install software here also. Where's this stuff coming from? Well, since this is LM 21.3, the packages are coming from Mint and Ubuntu. If you are using LMDE 6, the base packages will say Debian across here, just as an FYI. File Manager is Nemo for Cinnamon. This is 6.0.2, the latest version. Otherwise, I'd have an update here. The next version will be 6.2. 6.2. All right, Mary is just a made-up name. You can also use features like this, and you can also do the same in the new Xfce File Manager, S3. Readjust the size. The icons can be done my way, or you can do it the system way. And also over here. All right, we can also change that to different devices. That's a different hard drive, and this is my local drive for Mary. Just to give you one example of some of these little features. Now you can see a different wallpaper there. All right, so we have, again, this part is resizable. Software Manager I showed you. This is system settings. I have an unusually large scroll bar here just for my edification, as one would say, but here's your themes as a typical response. Applications, I sometimes refer to these as button sets, icons, and desktop. You can also have additional ones. I want to say there's 90 of them in here. And now you get the idea. Mouse pointers, Linux Mint will give you more than 2. Let's put it that way. So lots of things in here. Lots of things. Not all the tools are identical on the other Cinnamon desktop for LMDE 6. Like they don't have a driver manager, for instance. All right, that's one example. But however, the menus will look the same to you on the LMDE 6. So I showed the menu, I showed the software manager and settings and the file manager. And now let's take a look at some of the other desktops. Make that larger for you, a little too big maybe. And we'll start with the Mate desktop. The Mate desktop, again, is a traditional desktop, and this is a typical menu. It also has software manager, Synaptic package manager, denoted as package manager here, and the control center. Simple search features. And one thing Mate has that the Cinnamon desktop does not is you can place icons on your desktop and independently resize them to very large, actually, or very small. Independent resizing of icons. Usually on a Cinnamon desktop, they all resize at the same time. All right, so Cinnamon menu. If you want, I'll make this larger for you. The Mate menu. And you can see the panel, what it looks like. Control center looks like this versus the control center or system settings for the Cinnamon desktop. One common thing is themes here, appearance there. You can see the icons are even identical. You're not stuck with just these light color themes. There's plenty of things to pick from. There's dark colors, light colors, and etc. You may have a little less selection here, but there'll still be quite a few selections. All right, so you can see also Synaptic as a shortcut, Package Manager, and Software Manager. And of course, you can use Terminal to install software. You know, as you grow with Linux, if you're brand new to Linux, this is a very good segue into getting into Linux. You start out with point and click, and you migrate slowly into using Synaptic, Package Manager, or even Terminal to install stuff, and other things. I also have some fun videos for you to watch. Show some cute things, like guessing your day of the week for birthdays, stuff like that. File Manager is Kaja for the Mate desktop. Kaja. Bob is just a made-up name. Software Manager looks the same, doesn't it, as the Cinnamon desktop? Pretty much. Xfce menu, new desktop now. Xfce, again, is a lightweight desktop. The logo is normally the same color as this one, a white logo. Yes, you can change those. Generally, you do not have this button and this button. I added that just to show you the versatility of this desktop. You can add these manually. These are dedicated shutdown. You can click them, and in 60 seconds, they turn off your computer. And one is 60 seconds and the other one's 30 seconds. I forget which one is which. But more importantly, you can turn those on. Or not. You can just use the multifunction one where you click the shutdown or the restart. Software Manager is here. Now you can see the layout of the icons. Nice search feature. Our user for this distribution today was Sam. So your username will appear here. And you can add your own mugshot, as they call them. I just have a coffee cup sitting there just to have a little fun. Here's a typical thing when you do get an update. You get a little dot. See, I don't have one on mine. This is a screenshot. So the updater also, on all three of these, can be right-clicked and do a refresh to check for updates. All three desktops operate the same. Xfce settings look like this. Again, the Xfce settings, the Cinnamon desktop settings say system settings on it. This just says settings. The appearance has the same icon for themes. However, with the Cinnamon desktop, your mouse pointer is done here. On an Xfce desktop, let me just close this, is done through the mouse and touchpad. There'll be an extra tab in here for your mouse themes. And Linux Mint provides you with more than 2. Okay, you can always watch my other videos for some more extra custom mouse cursors if you like. All right, so lots of things are in here. You can see Software Manager as a shortcut. And yes, Xfce also has Synaptic Package Manager. All right, Software Manager for Xfce is the same. All point and click. The file manager for the Xfce desktop is Thunar. Now 4.18.4 has a new feature very similar to my Nemo file manager, which does F3s. F3 again is extra pane. I think they may call that split pane. Well, anyways, it has one of those features. You can also resize the icons independently from sections. In other words, you can see this size here. And then when you click in pictures, I'm going to simulate this on this one. So if I make these really huge, I can go to pictures and make those really small and then switch between the two and it'll remember the sizes. So the new file manager in Thunar 4.18.4 has that feature. If you go to edit and preferences, you can make that change. It's off by default. It's off by default. All right. I have, let me resize that. I have only one more screenshot that I'm going to show you. Again, Clem and his team are the only ones who know the release schedule for Linux Mint 22. But Linux Mint 22 will be using Nemo 6.2. That's the file manager for the Cinnamon desktop. Again, he is the only one that has the release schedule for that. Hopefully you enjoyed this informative video. Again, these were my opinions, yes. But again, I presented all the desktops so you can make an informed decision on which one will be best suited for you. And just remember this, you can test drive all of them before install. Thank you for watching.